And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're taking a look at The Little Prince, Rising to the Stars. Now, The Little Prince this is based on the movie, but this is a game designed by Tom Vasel and Bruno Catala. This is a game that, has a good pedigree of designers, a solid license behind it, and it's a game that when I first was shown it at Gen Con, I thought, oh, that looks very interesting, and I think that kids would enjoy it. Well, maybe not necessarily. Let me show you the game first, and then I'll tell you what I think. Now here's the track for the board all laid out. You can actually, these sides have different sides, you can connect them different ways, so you can play with multiple different tracks. They're just minor variations. You'll start from the house here, and you're flying all the way up to the Little Prince's planet. Each player is going to have an airplane. They take a little helmet of their color and they'll place it in front of them. Players are also going to get a hand of cards that they're going to have. These are cards that match them. You'll see there's 1, 2s, 3s, 4s, and a 5 that they're going to have. And then everyone gets ready and the game begins. Now, in this game, whoever's in last place will always go first. What that means is, right now, the brown airplane goes first. So let's say the brown airplane moves, and then after that the pink airplane goes, and then the white airplane, and then the green airplane, then the yellow airplane, then the red airplane. Now the next airplane to go is going to be the white. So he goes here. He then goes again. Now it's the yellow airplane's turn. He flies up here. Now it's the pink. Now it's white. So you realize if you get far ahead of everybody else, you're going to wait a few turns before it's your time to go again. Now, how are you taking your turn? Well, on your turn, you're going to pick a card from your hand, and you're going to place it underneath your helmet to show that that card has been used. And you can move up to that many spaces on the board. So by playing to 4, I can move 1, 2, 3, or 4. Now, when you're moving, if you land on top of another airplane, you are simply going to randomly steal a card from their hand and then give them a card back from your own hand. All right? But if you land on a cloud, something may happen. Now, there are some clouds on the board which nothing happens on. There are clouds with stars. If you land on one of those, you will simply get the number of stars that the cloud shows. These are points at the end of the game. If you land on a telescope, you'll randomly pick a telescope, turn it over, and see what happens. This one here lets you steal a star from somebody else. Some of them make you lose a star. This one here gives you 2 stars. So the telescopes are a little risky. They will give you 1, 2, or 3 stars, make you lose 1 or 2 stars, or let you steal 1 or 2 stars from another player. If you land on a dove spot, a bird, you are going to get one of Grandfather's cards. There's a deck of these. You'll draw this and put it in your hand. These are good cards because there's 5s, 6s, even 7s in this deck. There's some 4s too. Or you can go to the next bird space or move 3. Or you can move directly in front of whoever's in first place at this point in time. So these cards can be very useful. You can play them and get very far ahead. Also, you'll notice there's these tiles on the board. When you pass one of these spots, so let's say I pass this spot here, I'm going to get one of these tiles. Now, these tiles are from 1 to 5 points. You can see this one here, for example. These are story tiles, and it's 2 points. So I can take one of the face-up ones, or I can take a face-down one and hope that I do well. Now, you notice this one here is only worth 1 point, but it has half of a 6. At the end of the game, if you've gotten both of these, together they're worth 8 points. 1, 2 plus 6 is 8. So you can try to get those also. So players will be zooming around the track. It's possible that you'll run out of cards, especially if you have people steal them from you and you get given 1s in return, or if you never take any grandfather cards. So if you're done and you run out of steam, you can always discard a story tile that you might have to go 5 spaces, or you simply end the game and wait and see what your score is. The first person to get their airplane here is going to get this part of the star, which is worth 6 points. Then the next person, 4 points, then 3, then 2, then 1. When everyone has finished the race, you are simply going to add up the stars on these tiles, on any story tiles that you have gotten, and the stars that you've collected over the course of the game. Whoever has the most stars is the winner. First of all, it's very obvious that the game is gorgeous. You look at it, it just looks like a dream. It looks fun. Flying, the cars, the artwork, it has a good look to it. It's kind of a breath of fresh air sometimes after seeing all these, I will fight the dragon with my six-pack of abs, and so on. Or the Mediterranean guys with their dour look. This is something different, and I like it. It has good quality components, it's easy to play, it's easy to teach. Where my kids in particular did not like the game was that constant stealing from other players, especially the more players involved in the game. Now the game can go to 6 players, and when you play with 5 or 6 players, you're going to be landing on top of other airplanes all the time, so there's this constant stealing cards, and it is very easy for one person just to get totally messed over. Someone stole their 5, then someone steals their 4, and then someone steals their other 4, and they're left with garbage cards. They can land on grandfather's cards, but maybe someone will steal those. Not necessarily maliciously, but just because that's what the game does. You have nothing else to do, so you land another player and steal their card. Or you're about to go to a space, someone else lands there first, gets a thing, you're like, fine, I'll go there, steal one of their cards, and then hopefully go to a better spot. But it can be easy to feel like you've fallen behind and you're not getting as much stuff as everybody else. My kids did not enjoy that as much. As an adult gamer, and with gamers, I found that the game did better, although they may not be so keen on the whole little Prince Dream theme. So it's kind of like the theme was, the game has it's a little meaner than I had anticipated, and therefore I think gamers will like it more. This game has a bit of, it has a bit of similarities to a popular game called Tokaido or Francis Drake, where you basically can move, the person in last place moves, and how far you move depends on what you get, but you don't always necessarily want to move too far because then you're sitting there while other people get what you want. Except in this game, you pretty much full throttle is good. You want to be the first person to pass the story tiles because you get your first choice of those. You want to be the first person to get to the end because 6 points is 6 points. Yes, other players may land on you and steal stuff, but full throttle seems to be a good thing. I was trying to teach my kids, well, sometimes you might want to hold back. And at the end of the game, they said, why would we have wanted to hold back? I was like, well, all right, shut up. I like the game, though. I found it very entertaining. I like the look of it. It plays very quickly. It's easy. I like the grandfather card deck, adding more cards to my hand. I like the fact that the last player goes. Just realize that the interaction is pretty high, and there's a lot of stealing cards, especially if you play more players. 3 players actually is a very fun way, I think, because the interaction is much, much smaller, and you're moving quickly, and you can get the game done very nicely. And I think if I was playing with kids, I would try to keep it 4 or fewer players, just so that there's not so much stealing going on. Unless the kids are very vicious, then hey, let's just steal all we want. Other than that, though, fast, simple, maybe too simple for some people, but sometimes I'm in a mood for this kind of simplicity. I liked it. The Little Prince, Rising to the Stars. Dice Tower Judgment, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door!